Okay, let's go. What is that? Snow in April? Come on, people! So yeah, people from Central Europe will know what I'm talking about. It's snow in April. It's ridiculous. I've never seen that before. So yeah, and forgive me, I'm a little bit nervous because this is basically my first AMA. Of course, I'm prepared. There's a lot to show and a lot to talk, a lot of questions to answer, and I definitely owe you that. I owe that to the community, and I owe that for a long time now. I guess that's why I'm going to do this AMA. Okay, the first question that I wrote down is version 8.2.2 merge still stuck? No. Second question, will the 8.2.2 merge be completed by 2035? Hell yeah, yes! Is Jared gatekeeping progress? In my humble opinion, no. How do you become the best pal of Fraud Jared Tate? I don't know. Go and drink a beer with him. Have some chatting, come on. I guess people don't read books anymore on how to make friends. When the inflationary problem of DigiByte will be fixed? I will come to that in a few minutes. What influence has the latest update of DigiByte 8.2 on the price of the coin? Come on! This is a very difficult question for me, because I'm very bad at predicting prices. Like, really, really bad. Go and check out my dude, Bad Uncle Time Traveler on Twitter. I'm sure he's the best when it comes to answering this question. I know you will understand that from this point on, I will have to deal with more serious questions only. Forgive me, I will leave out the questions that I can't answer for some reason. Also, I will skip questions regarding DigiCorp Labs because I think it's wiser to put them into a separate video or spaces or whatever. So yeah. Is the inflation bug going to be fixed with the next update? Yes! I've written a thorough DIP, that is a DigiByte improvement proposal, long ago. Why didn't I publish it then? Well, that's another question. Sometimes people tend to be busy, and sometimes other things have more priority. And I already expressed how minor this issue is right now. And before we can apply a fix, we should make sure that we have a very solid release. Also, this will require a community vote or something in that manner, because it will change the behavior of the coin emission, and we should all decide together on which date in 2035 the last DigiByte will be mined. So let me just open what I did a couple of months ago and explain why I regret it. Boom, here we go. That's it. This is I think it's the first DigiByte improvement proposal ever done, because the concept of DigiByte improvement proposals is rather new. I've written this document several months ago, and yeah, now what's so wrong about that? Yeah, so I love math, and math is always right. You know, it's awesome. Math is something as a programmer you can't get around math, and I love math since the first grade. So yeah. So what I did in this document is I've written down the phases of the emissions, because it's split up in several phases where the emission behave differently. The first three are very simple. It's a it's the hardest math you can do. It's just a constant, you know. We're just returning numbers for a specific block height, and here things get rather complicated. We have a decay factor, and we have to take into account the fork block height where this emission behavior was introduced, and so it quickly gets to something like that, which isn't complicated at all. But what takes so much effort is if we apply geometric series, and for all those who know what this is, yeah, it can become quite tedious, and we get formulas like that. It took me, to be honest, it took me 1 or 2 or 3 days to finish them, and I validated them, and yeah, something was off. I compared those numbers that I got by math with the numbers that I got with a simulation, and yeah, something was off. And math is only right if you apply it right, and that's something I didn't do. I mean, the numbers are pretty close to the simulated ones, but there are rounding issues. And why is that? Because DigiByte Core and also Bitcoin Core and other clients are using integer arithmetics. We can't use expressions like these at all, where we say 0.99 power another constant. You know, it's not working, because in integer arithmetics you won't have decimals, and they will be cut off basically. And math doesn't have that concept. Even if I use something like a floor function, as you can see here, the result will be different. So all of that tedious work with the math was funny, but yeah, we don't need that. We can drop all those things that I did a couple of months ago. So yeah, I tried to propose our options, and as far as I'm concerned, we only have 2 options. That is described in this improvement proposal. As I already told you, we have to drop the math. Maybe we can leave it as a reference, but it made me very sad, because I worked very hard to get that working, and in the end it just didn't matter, you know. But that's not really an issue, because let me pull that out for a second. Here it is. I've written a simulation for that improvement proposal that simulates all the different phases and emissions, and it accumulates them. We compare the math and the simulation values, and you can see the difference is very small. But I want to emphasize here in a quick second why I want this to be as precise as possible. I want to have 20 billion digibytes in the end, no single Satoshi more or less. You know that I wanted to say 21 billion, right? Okay? And this is why I tend to be perfect on this. So with this simulation, it will be easy to propose a new fork block height with a new behavior. We just have to propose another decay factor, and I know this was already done in the as a pull request from someone. I don't remember who it was, but you know, we want to have something more clear, and it should be underlined by a simulation, because we want to have this as precise as possible. This is what I have done here. I just need to publish that. But before I publish this proposal, there are other things to do, as I already told you. We have to get the version 8.2.2 ready. Maybe you see why I regret doing this. It was a lot of work, but at least I came up with a solution that will help us to propose another number. So when will proc POW and random X mining happen? Announcement was over a year ago. I totally understand you, and many other people want to see that happen. I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing everything I can to get that release out as soon as possible. But we have to make sure it's solid, it's bulletproof, and of course code complete. From that point, we can basically propose features for every subsequent release very easily. Where is my DigiByte address? I removed it from everywhere because I didn't feel I needed donations for no progress being done. At least no progress visibly done. I think there's still one address in my GitHub profile. I need to check it and remove it later. Is the Dandelion protocol currently working? Yes and no. And I will show you why in a minute. Is a one-click miner happening? No, unfortunately not. But I think this is a great idea. And it should be definitely tackled sometime in the future. Is the merge still the best approach? Okay, allow me to get a little more serious with this question. I think you deserve an answer from me. But be warned, this is an answer that comes out of my mouth. I think people should not worry too much about which method is better or which is worse. You know that both methods have disadvantages, they also have advantages. Go and read them up. I mean, you can Google them yourself. But basically, while one requires tedious amounts of work, the other rewrites the history completely, okay? I can guarantee you that, if done properly, both methods will produce the same code, just with another commit history. And now I tell you why you shouldn't care about this question anyway. The merge was completed long ago. I'm really telling that. Long ago. Yes, I'm completely serious about that. What took so long then? Yeah, me! Come on people, just blame me and you will be more happy with your lives. No need to blame anybody else. Furthermore, instead of insulting anyone, you should better be treating them well. Say something nice to them. Say something to make their lives better and send them good vibes. It's better for you and it's also better for them. Stop insulting people on a daily basis. This is leading nowhere. Yeah, next question. Where can one actually see all the work being done on DigiByte 8.2.2? The 8.22 feature branch on Git isn't showing much signs of life. Damn, that's right. That's totally true. It's because I held it back. Whoa. I think it's time to show something to all of you. It's time to show you what took so long. What was tedious? What kept me awake during nights? What costed me weeks of work? It's time to show you that. And I think you will finally understand why the debate of merging or rebasing doesn't matter so much as previously thought. The main work for version 8.22 was due somewhere else. So, first I have to show you good news. You see this list of... Oh man, let me switch the screen. You can't see anything. Yes, you can. Oh, that's great. Look at that. Look at that. Do you see that list? Do you see these green items on my terminal? Can you see them? Yeah. That feels great, believe me. Oh, there's something red. But you shouldn't bother about those two. I will come to that in a second. So, what am I showing here to you? This is the functional test suite. That is something that was never done properly in DigiByte. But it's super important, especially if you want to integrate new features into the code base. Because what do these tests show you? They show you whether the client is working properly, even after introducing or changing other things. So listen. When we completed the merge back in January or what, I have no idea when this was, but when we completed the merge, I have to pull something up. Give me a second. I had this list, okay, and these were the functional tests that didn't work at all. It was crazy. It was, how many lines do we have here? It was 143 tests that didn't work at all. People don't know how long it takes to fix one test, and you can try yourself. I mean, fork the current repo and try to fix them. It's not just a matter of 5 minutes per test. It's sometimes you have, especially if is a bug introduced due to dandelion or something, it will take maybe a day or two for one of these, and others will be finished within 10 or 20 minutes because it's just a parameter that was changed that is different from the Bitcoin code base. Yeah, and every time you execute this test, you can see they take some time. There are tests that take some time, so it's not like you can change the source code and check them like a minute afterwards. You have to be careful what you do because it costs a lot of time. You can see 337 seconds for this test. Import rescan. Yeah, that was a crazy one. I remember that. But what you can see in this document is all those functional tests didn't work out. There were some tests that popped up green from the very beginning, but most of them were red. It wasn't looking as beautiful as you can see here. So yeah, it took me weeks. It took me many nights, many hours, many months, whatever, to complete those. And here we are. They are completed. And why are those two red? Yeah, it's simple. It's so when I execute one of those, oh, come on, give me a second. CD tests functional, execute that one. So when you execute them one by one, they will work. I guarantee that. The reason why they don't work when they are executed simultaneously is because this thing uses multi-core, your multi-processor architecture. So sometimes, especially when executing multiple tests that would require a reg test, a network, a test network of DigiByte to be run, then sometimes the network parts collide. But yeah, if you execute them on their own, they will work. And basically, I'm going to commit what I have here. Let me just quit the test and show you something else. We have something very, very awesome here. What is that? Those are 135 or even more commits that I worked on over the last few weeks. Why don't they show up on GitHub? It's easy. Because I didn't commit them yet. I had to sort out some commits, and I think there's still one left. You see, one commit is just called XXXX because I wanted to go home after a crazy working day, and yeah, I have to rename some of those commits and restructure them. I always make sure that the message in the commit is as clear as possible, and you as a developer should do that too, please. But yeah, most of that is sorted, and I think I can commit them by tomorrow. And this is, man, you will see this. This is the most complete code that DigiByte has ever had, and it took long. I understand that some people got frustrated, but here's the thing: big exchanges, when they try to integrate this coin, they will definitely run the functional test, the unit test, and the fuzzy test. They will do it, and everything should be green in order for them to list that, because otherwise, where's the trust? You know, launching a coin on your exchange imposes some security risks, and you can clearly see whether the developers of a coin were serious about their project or not, just by running the functional tests. This is something very important, and seriously, this catched a few bugs that we didn't know before. Those didn't, they weren't very critical bugs, but they were still there, and with these functional tests, it was possible for us to detect them. So this is basically, these are great news, and I think DigiByte is set for a very big future now. We can have proposals for algorithms for anything, as long as the functional tests still run through and you can clearly see that there's nothing that broke throughout the code changes, throughout the new release. Then we can be relatively sure that the code still works as expected. And this is what took so long with the ongoing merge. The merge was ready. It was my fault that I wasn't too transparent, but you have to understand that it's a lot of pressure to fix all the code base, the bugs, everything. And I can show you an example. I've prepared something to show you how fragile this source code of DigiByte or even Bitcoin is. We had something happening in our code base, and it was hard to see, especially if you do a code review of someone who pushed changes to the code base. Now I should switch up the screen. Here you can see it. So yeah, let me give you an example. This is a simple if statement. It just says, if A or B or C, then do something. If this expression in these brackets, in these parentheses, evaluate to false, it won't execute do something. It's very simple. Now, what happened during this merge, or during the refactoring of Dandelion? Someone, and I don't care who it was, it's not a blame game, someone put the original C outside into a temporary variable. Why is that so critical? Now, if A is true, C will be executed, and this was not the original intention. You see, generally, as I told you before, the compiler won't evaluate B and C if A is already true. But in that case, yeah, we put this variable C outside, and it got evaluated, and it created harm. It was devastating. It was very hard to debug and find the underlying issue, because this is not the only location in the source code that was changed. I think that's why it's so important to have functional tests. Let me show you the real code. Yes, we had something like that. If not add to mempool, and the UTXO that is being checked, whether it's a coin base, that is the newly mined coin of the block, or accept to memory pool. This is the, no, where is it? This is the C. I tried to emphasize that this is a function call. This is a C, and you must just imagine the following. Oh, come on. Give me a second. Imagine somebody just did this. Mempool accept result type. Look at this. someone, and I guess it just happened because we were working too fast. Someone did this. It was even worse. The guy who did that also inverted the operator here. So 2 bugs in one single change in two or three lines, and I think you can clearly see this gets executed. So the UTXO or the transaction that it's a reorg, so a blockchain reorg. So the transaction gets accepted to the memory pool right away, and then it's checking whether it has to add it to the memory pool or whether it's a Coinbase. And now it's checking the result of this function call. And yeah, well, changes like these illustrate how dangerous it is to modify source code. It can easily break everything. But the key takeaway from this video is the version 8.2.2 client is almost finished. I'm sure there are only minor things to do, and I'm going to publish the changes that I did to the functional tests. I think people will be very happy because this is huge news to have them finally running on DigiByte. It makes it just more complete. It feels, for me as a programmer, it feels so clean to have those working. I can't emphasize enough how important those tests are, and it's sad that we never did them before. I mean, there are several shitcoins, so to speak, that don't have the functional tests working. I'm aware of that, but we don't want DigiByte to be such type of a shitcoin, right? And I am sure that everyone agrees that DigiByte is not another shitcoin. We want to transfer a image of realness, of something great here, because DigiByte clearly is something great. And especially now, where we see businesses building on top of DigiByte, we should make sure everything is as perfect as possible. We should make sure that we don't introduce new bugs, and so on and so on. So, I think that's it. That was my AMA, and I actually feel quite confident that everything worked out pretty properly. Yeah, we'll see. Have a nice day, people, and be nice to each other. We have a bright future. I know that. So again, now that we have the function tests working, everything is fine. We can have more pull requests with more features, while ensuring that the code is correct and stays correct. So this is a door opener for great success and adoption. So have a nice week, guys. I hope you liked this video, and it was my first AMA, so forgive any mistakes that I did or sometimes not speaking very clearly. Looking forward for more progress.